Does anxiety really lead to self-harm? This is a question that has sparked intense debate in the mental health community. While anxiety and self-harm are two separate issues, they can be interconnected in complex ways. In this video, we'll delve into the relationship between anxiety and self-harm, exploring the potential links between the two and what you can do if you're struggling with either or both. From the emotional turmoil of anxiety to the dangerous coping mechanisms of self-harm, we'll tackle the tough questions and provide you with a deeper understanding of these critical mental health topics. So, if you're ready to confront the harsh realities of anxiety and self-harm, then keep watching. Join me as I dive deep into the connection between anxiety and self-harm, and I'll share my personal journey of trying to understand it all. Anxiety and self-harm, two topics that are often linked together, but rarely explored in depth. Today, we're going to change that by taking a closer look at the complex relationship between the two. When someone is struggling with anxiety, it's not uncommon for them to feel overwhelmed, hopeless, and like they're drowning in their emotions. In an attempt to cope with these feelings, some people might turn to self-harming behaviors as a way to momentarily escape the emotional pain. On the surface, this might seem like a strange coping mechanism, but for many, it can provide a fleeting sense of relief from the constant anxiety. For individuals dealing with anxiety, everyday tasks can become daunting challenges. Simple things like going to work, meeting with friends, or even just leaving the house can trigger an anxiety attack. When you're stuck in this cycle, it's easy to feel like you're losing control, and that's when the self-destructive behaviors can start to creep in. The never-ending what-ifs, the constant worrying, and the feeling of being on edge all the time, it's exhausting, both physically and mentally. The emotional toll of anxiety cannot be overstated. The fear of not being good enough, the anxiety of not meeting expectations, and the constant pressure to perform can be crushing. It's no wonder that some people turn to self-harm as a way to momentarily quiet the storm brewing inside their minds. They might feel like they have no other way to express the emotional pain they're carrying, and that self-harm is the only way to momentarily release the pressure. As we delve deeper into this topic, it's essential to acknowledge that anxiety and self-harm are complicated issues that can't be reduced to a single cause and effect relationship. There are many factors at play, and what works for one person might not work for another. Emotional distress is a significant driver of self-harm. When people are struggling to cope with their emotions, they might turn to self-destructive behaviors as a way to release tension, punish themselves, or even just to feel something physical instead of the overwhelming emotional pain. The psychological factors at play are complex, but one thing is clear: self-harm is often a desperate attempt to regain a sense of control in a world that feels overwhelming. One of the most significant misconceptions about anxiety and self-harm is that they're inextricably linked, and that everyone who struggles with anxiety will inevitably turn to self-harm. However, research suggests that this isn't the case. Many people with anxiety never engage in self-harming behaviors, and that's a crucial distinction to make. A pivotal insight into this relationship comes from a study that found that individuals who engage in self-harm often do so as a way to cope with feelings of shame and guilt. This opens up a broader conversation about the importance of addressing these underlying emotional struggles, rather than just treating the symptoms. In another study, researchers discovered that people who practiced self-compassion were less likely to engage in self-harm. This highlights the importance of treating ourselves with kindness, understanding, and patience, rather than self-criticism and judgment. As we summarize the main points discussed today, it's essential to remember that anxiety and self-harm are complex issues that require empathy, understanding, and compassion. We must acknowledge the nuances of this relationship and work towards creating a safe, non-judgmental space for people to open up about their struggles. Thanks for watching, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic in the comments below. If you're interested in learning more about mental health awareness, be sure to check out my next video.